Hello, everyone. In the news tonight, a bomb is mailed to the local NAACP office.
A killer explosion in Savannah is linked to the one in Alabama.
And years of memories go up in smoke in a small-town store.
Join Deborah and me. Eyewitness News is next.
Thanks for keeping Channel 4 #1. Once again, WJXT is the most watched station for news and information in North Florida and South Georgia. Your good friends on 4. Thank you. Now, from WJXT, Channel 4's Eyewitness News. The #1 news with Tom Wills, Deborah Gianolis, meteorologist George Wendeling with weather, Sam Kavaris with sports, and the Eyewitness News team.
If I were a preacher, I would preach a sermon and say, I feel extremely fortunate and blessed because I know that God was in the plan.
That was NAACP President Willie Dennis describing how lucky she feels tonight because she was too busy yesterday to open a package that turned out to be a bomb. Good evening, everyone. First, a deadly explosion in Alabama. Then a bomb is found but is defused in Atlanta. Then another fatal bomb explosion kills a lawyer in Savannah. Then today, a bomb is discovered at the NAACP office on Jacksonville's north side. An anonymous caller to Channel 4 late today claimed responsibility and threatened further action against the local civil rights group. This afternoon in Washington, FBI Director William Sessions said so-called hate groups may be responsible for the rash of mail bombs.
Well, I think that people who are involved in the legal decisions, both as lawyers and as members of courts, are always at risk because many of these circumstances are the result of very closely held convictions of people.
Sessions also said it is possible more than one person is involved in the bomb attacks since the explosive devices have turned up in 3 southern states, all of which are in the jurisdiction of the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals.
The bomb that came in the mail to the NAACP was defused late this afternoon before it could do any harm. But after what happened in Birmingham and Savannah, it caused a powerful scare. Eyewitness News reporter Winston Dean is at the Civil Rights Group's headquarters on Sutel Drive and joins us live. Winston.
Deborah, save for all of this traffic, it is much quieter along this stretch of Sutel Drive, where earlier today, for the better part of 5 hours, it was closed as federal agents and local authorities scurried to disarm a bomb. The bomb, federal agents say, was mailed to the local office of the NAACP, and for certain, it made for some high drama this afternoon, not to mention a close call for one local civil rights leader. Police were called this morning after Willie Dennis, president of the Jacksonville NAACP, reported a suspicious-looking package which arrived yesterday via the U.S. Postal Service at the Civil Rights Organization's North Jacksonville headquarters.
And when she returned today, she had become aware of the situation that developed in Savannah last night where an attorney was killed. Based upon that fact, she looked at the package again and then decided that she ought to call the sheriff's office.
The device itself, as the sheriff indicated, was designed to take out the individual that opened it. It would have caused severe damage and more than likely killed that person and anyone surrounding them.
To protect possible leads in the case, authorities refused to describe the appearance of the parcel, whether it was a package bomb or a letter bomb. Federal agents did, however, confirm similarities between this discovery and the recent rash of bomb incidents in the southeast.
There are many similarities here as to the one in Atlanta, Savannah, and also the device that was located at the judge's residence.
Around 3:30 today, the explosive device was detonated.
What they use, Winston, is a device called a disruptor. They fire it at the bomb. It separates the batteries from the explosive part of the bomb and neutralizes it.
Before the bomb was reported, several ministers were actually inside the NAACP's office, initially unaware of the explosive. Later, they reacted angrily to the discovery.
To think that in 1989, and after all of the progress that we feel we have made through civil rights organizations, that in 1989 that the NAACP office of Jacksonville would be threatened with a bomb.
Jacksonville's mayor called the incident a slap in the face to race relations in the community.
And we have come too far in this city to build our bridges by working together as a community, and that this kind of cowardness will not take place in our city.
Now, Deborah, while authorities would not describe the package, whether it was a letter or a package, they did say that it was addressed to the NAACP, specifically its legal unit.
Thank you, Winston. That's Winston Dean joining us from live outside the NAAC headquarters on Sutel Drive. Shortly after 4:30 this afternoon, a man who would not give his name called Channel 4 and delivered the following message. The next time these people over on Sutel Drive, these NAACP people, the next time they hear from us, they are really going to get a blast out of what we have to say. That information has been passed on to police.
In Savannah today, the FBI examined the devastation caused by the bomb blast, which claimed the life of civil rights attorney Robert Robinson late yesterday. Eyewitness News reporter Linnea Carlsen is there and joins us now live from Savannah. Linnea?
Tom, more pieces of the puzzle have come together today for the FBI in the mail bombing incidents here in Savannah, Atlanta, and Alabama. FBI officials now believe that the bomb that killed attorney Robert Robinson was one of several targeted for civil rights activists. FBI investigators spent the day gathering evidence in the office of Savannah attorney Robert Robinson. Robinson died several hours after a mail bomb exploded in his office late yesterday. Now the FBI confirms there is a connection between the Savannah mail bomb, the mail bomb found in Atlanta, and a mail bomb that killed a federal judge in Alabama.
We believe that 3 packages were essentially the same type of package and device. That's based on our investigation, and the package that, based on what we recovered in Atlanta, measured 12 inches long, 9 inches wide, and was 4.5 inches thick. It was wrapped in brown paper. It has a red parcel post mailing label in the upper left-hand corner. It bears stamps rather than a metered postage stamp, and it also has string that is tied around it to form a cross.
Robinson was a well-known civil rights activist who was also a city alderman in Savannah. He represented the NAACP in a desegregation case against the Savannah school system a year ago. A fellow alderman says Robinson confided to a friend he was uneasy the past few days.
We understand that he was concerned over the past 2 or 3 days about something. He had shared this with some people. We haven't found out who that is, that he was concerned about, and I would venture to say it's in that area.
The Savannah police have taken what they call appropriate action to safeguard certain individuals in this community.
We have contacted the people that we feel are most likely to be targeted for those incidents, and we've taken the appropriate action to provide security so that we do not have a repeat performance in the city.
The FBI says in all 3 cases, the explosive devices were pipe bombs containing nail. Now, FBI officials say 2 of those packages had postal marks from Georgia. The 3rd was illegible. All 3 had return addresses. But the FBI officials say the individuals named in those return addresses are not suspects in the mail bombings. Tom?
Linnea, one of the things we learned today is that the federal judge in Birmingham, Alabama, Judge Vance, he was one of the 3 judges on the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals who decided Jacksonville's recent school desegregation case. What I'd like to ask you is, was there any connection between the Savannah attorney, Robert Robinson, and Judge Vance?
Yes, FBI officials are looking at the link. It turns out that Robinson tried a case before Vance in the 11th Circuit, and sources say that that case had something to do with desegregation, so that is the link they're looking at right now.
Thank you very much, Linnea. That is Eyewitness News reporter Linnea Carlsen reporting live from Savannah. There have been a series of other bomb threats and scares at federal buildings around Florida today. No other explosive devices were found, however. A caller phoned a newspaper claiming there were bombs planted at the Fort Lauderdale and Miami federal courthouses. Employees who came to work at the Fort Lauderdale building were kept out until bomb-sniffing dogs completed a search. In Miami, all packages and visitors were carefully screened. At the St. Petersburg federal building, 40 people were evacuated after a scanner detected metal in a package addressed to a federal judge. Inside the package was just a bookbinder. Late today, a Jacksonville police officer offered advice. He said, if you have any questions about any package you receive, do not open it until you check with the sender. Deborah.
Jacksonville shipyard workers should know in about an hour whether their union has agreed to concessions. About 700 members of the International Brotherhood of Boilermakers voted today on whether to accept the cutbacks that were requested by the shipyard's owners. Terex Corporation announced last month it was closing the money-losing shipyard January 8th unless a buyer is found. But in a recent development, the owners said they would consider keeping the site open indefinitely if the workers will agree to the concessions. A memorial to 2 teenagers has been set up on the Bridge of Lions. 18-year-old O'Lee Creech and 17-year-old Neil Martincack were killed Sunday morning when their car plunged off the bridge. Police say their car was forced from the span by another car. Sometime last night, friends of the teenagers lined the rail where the car went into the river, with roses, crosses, and carnations. The driver of the other car, Robert Brown, was charged today with 2 counts of DUI manslaughter.
Coming up next on Eyewitness News, mementos go up in a few moments of smoke.
And it's moving day for Dorcas Drake and Company.
Rockefeller Center, move over. Ice skating's coming to Jacksonville. I'm Bill Henley live at the Riverwalk. The icy details coming up.
Investigators still don't know what caused a fire that destroyed a downtown warehouse last night. Flames shot up into the sky in the 1500 block of East Adams Street. 100 firefighters were called to the scene, but they had a tough time putting out the blaze. The building contained thousands of cans of aerosol spray that started exploding. There were no injuries. The building and contents are a total loss.
Arson is suspected in a fire that burned a Bayard antique store early today. Investigators say they found a can of gas just outside the building. Eyewitness News reporter Robin Saran tells us the items that were lost in the fire can never be replaced.
These chairs aren't too bad. It burned the seats out of them.
Jim Robertson sifted through his corner of the antique store, trying to salvage what wasn't destroyed in the fire.
We've been doing this for quite a while, and this was quite a shock to us.
This wooden building on Phillips Highway has been here since 1905. There are more than 24 different antique stores inside. The value of all the contents is about $1 million. While some of the stores in the building had nothing left but charred rubble, just a few feet away in the other stores, there was really no damage at all.
We'd always thought that if there was ever a fire in the building that it would go up in a flash.
I think we're just all very lucky.
The owner of the building says there was no insurance to cover the losses, and he can't figure out why anyone would intentionally set the blaze.
We have no enemies that I know of, you know.
Anthony says they plan to pick up the pieces and open this weekend, but they know some things can never be replaced. And what the antique dealers say is the saddest part is that it only took a few minutes to destroy precious furniture and knickknacks that have been collected and treasured for decades. Robin Saran, Channel 4 Eyewitness News.
Coming up next on Eyewitness News, an ousted Gator quarterback may be making a comeback.
Matt in for Sam has sports, so stay tuned.
Santa's elves are at it again. They're forming a line and watching things twice, sometimes 3 or 4 times before some items find a one short of final resting place at the Coliseum. The Dorcas Drake Christmas Party volunteers were getting thousands of toys situated for tomorrow's Big Bash. The toys come from everywhere, and so do the volunteers, but it seems a big majority of them come from the local Navy bases.
We've had guys here every day for the last 7 weeks, anywhere from 4 to 15 guys every day. All volunteers. Most of them on their own time after hours or night check guys. It's been a pretty good turnout.
With all the help, the toys should be lined up long before the happy recipients step into queue tomorrow morning. The great giveaway begins at 9. People on the scene say there should be plenty for everyone.
Time has passed, the dust has settled. If you were Kyle Morris, wouldn't you be thinking about applying for reinstatement?
You're right, Tom, as a matter of fact, but it looks like he won't be back until next year to play anyway. Of course, the Gators got that bowl game coming up, but he won't be in that. But hopefully he'll be back in the team next spring, right. I think Kyle feels punished enough. I don't think he would ever do it again. That statement from Florida interim coach Gary Darnell in announcing that quarterback Kyle Morris hopes to be reinstated to the Gator football team next month. Morris was booted off the Florida squad, you recall, last October for gambling on pro and college football games. The redshirt sophomore reportedly is working out an agreement with the university that would put him back on the team, reinstate his scholarship, and let him return to the athletic dormitory by next semester after the Gators play in the Freedom Bowl against Washington. For Morris to be reinstated, he must get permission from the NCAA as well as the university. It now will be called the Big 11 and may soon be labeled the Big 12. I'm referring to the Big 10 Conference, which officially announced today that Penn State had become a member. There is speculation that either Pittsburgh or Rutgers would also join the conference at a later date. The Nittany Lions and Coach Joe Paterno have long been one of the top independents in college football, but started talking to the Big 10 about joining its ranks several years ago. Penn State isn't likely to join the conference football schedule, though, until sometime in the mid-90s because of advanced schedules, and the president of the school is happy to be a member of the Big 10.
The prospect of Penn State's having formal athletic ties with a group of institutions with which we have so much in common academically has a very strong appeal.
He is 71 years old and has been retired for nearly a decade, but George Allen still feels he can coach football. The former head mentor of the Los Angeles Rams and Washington Redskins will begin patrolling the sidelines next fall for the Long Beach State team. Allen reached a verbal agreement with the school last night, which will probably be for 3 years. Long Beach was 4-8 this past season under coach Larry Riceberg, who resigned in November. The Philadelphia Eagles were hoping to wrap up a playoff berth with a victory over New Orleans last night, but the Saints refused to cooperate. Backup quarterback John Fourcade sparked the Saints by firing 3 touchdown passes, including this one to Eric Martin, who makes a sensational grab at the goal line. That one covered 13 yards. He later hooked up with another LSU former grad, Dalton Hilliard, on a 35-yard TD toss as the underdog Saints took a quick 14-0 lead over the stunned Eagles. Fourcade teamed with Martin again in the fourth quarter on a 20-yard strike. New Orleans goes on to upset the Eagles 30-20 in a game that lasted nearly 4 hours because of penalties. Florida State wide receiver Bruce Lesane will miss the New Year's Day Fiesta Bowl meeting against Nebraska. The 6'4" pass-catching whiz suffered a broken collarbone during a weekend practice session. Unfortunate news for the Noles, who are deep at that position. Speaking of the Seminoles, the basketball team should have an easy time tonight against Samford in Tallahassee. Samford has lost 5 out of 6 games this season, while FSU stands at 4-3. But Coach Pat Kennedy knows his young team can't take anyone for granted.
Oh, I think our youngsters have been through enough close games. They understand the way you can lose a close game, free throws, turnovers, etc. They understand that we have to play well, and we as a coaching staff know how fragile we still are as a team, and we're going to stay right on top of them to make sure that we are really ready for these 2 games because they could be very important to us.
Well, it'll be a Mutt and Jeff matchup tonight when Florida Community College of Jacksonville hosts Odessa College in round 2 of the Tournament of Champions at FCCJ's South Campus. Odessa fields a team with 6 6-footers, while the Lady Stars did not have a player larger than 5'11". The tip-off for that game is 8 o'clock. An early Christmas present for Robin Yount, the American League's most valuable player, signed a 3-year pact with his old team, the Milwaukee Brewers, today, reportedly worth $9.6 million. The 34-year-old free agent, who's been with the Brewers since '74, batted .318 with 21 homers, 103 RBIs this past season. Yount has a career average of .292 with 208 homers. Tom, I believe, and they get more and more astronomical, I think that makes him the highest paid guy now in
I was just
baseball.
sitting here thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
He's over $3 million. It's like watching the stock market, though. You never know what it's going to be from day to day.
That's right. Another
Thanks.
rich guy.
Thank you, Matt. Woody says the light at the end of the yuck is another day away. He'll be here sitting in for George next.
The light at the end of the yuck, is that just the best line? I'll tell you, that's certainly just, yuck, there is no better word. In the dictionary next to yuck, it has this date.
If you're extremely optimistic, you could try to convince yourself, well, it's kind of holiday type weather. It's kind of gray and it's chilly, and if you're from up north, this kind of reminds you of how it was back home, but nah.
Unless you have the luxury of staying in bed all day with a good book, there's no purpose for this weather, Woody.
Or if you got fresh batteries in the remote control.
There you go. That'll do it.
Too. Well, it looks like right now the northeaster will be over tomorrow, and that will be the 5th day of the northeaster. We thought we might see a little bit of sunshine this afternoon, but the clouds just kept on coming from the Gulf of Mexico, and we can see those rain clouds streaming very rapidly in an east-northeastward direction. And they're moving at about 30 miles an hour, as was all the rain, but it just continues to hang back in here, so we'll be seeing this at least for another day. And here's a clearing way back here in Louisiana and Texas, so we've got quite a ways to go. In the meantime, rainfall amounts range anywhere from about 2 inches up around St. George near Callahan, officially 8,200s at the airport, but less than 1/10 of an inch at some places on the coastal areas. You can see we got 7/10 here, and Lake Forest area got 1.5 inches. Now here's the showers, and they'll continue to dominate all of North Florida and South Georgia. Mostly light rain, but occasionally there will be periods of some heavier rains, and that'll cause some puddling, as we see now, where the rain's outside. Very wet conditions continue, but we need the rain. We've got 2.5 inches of rain in December, and that's normal, so very helpful. Temperature is 43 degrees. Winds are out of the north at 8 miles an hour, so the wind chill feels like 35 degrees. Not much range in temperatures. As you can see, the morning low 42 at the airport. 48 was the high this afternoon. We'll probably hang around 43 most of the night. The dew point is 42. That makes the humidity at 96%. The barometer's falling slowly, and the air quality, the lowest I've seen it in quite a while, at 13. In the good range. Well, the astronomical data, we won't see the sunrise tomorrow at 7:19, but we might see at least part of the sunset at 5:30. This is getting pretty early in the evening hours now. Last quarter moon is coming up. Now as we take a look at the satellite vantage point and separate this picture, we can see fair skies but bitterly cold temperatures are seen up in the northern plain states, and there were record high temperatures in South Florida. In fact, it was 88 degrees in Palm Beach area. Miami had another record high temperature, and these temperatures are contrasted quite a bit with 85 in Miami to temperatures 10 degrees in Bridgeport, Connecticut, -6 in Elkins. Another blast of Arctic air is coming out of the northern Rocky Mountain regions and the plain states. Dickinson had 26 degrees below zero, wind chill -35. The freezing air is all the way down to North Georgia and Alabama, and a lot of that is turning into freezing rain where they've had it lightly in Atlanta. It's just a mess traveling around Atlanta. Now it's still freezing rain in parts of Athens, but right now we'll have a continuation of these showers. May even hear a crackle of thunder once in a while as this condition could persist. The end of the rain should be moving through tomorrow. Might even see a break in the clouds too, but overnight lows tonight in the 40s. Now winds will continue to be northerly at about 12 miles an hour, but small craft advisories have just been dropped. So hopefully with that end of rain coming tomorrow, we'll eventually see that cold air surge down into the southeast, but it'll be a while before we do see that. So on the 4-day forecast, the morning low of about 40, rain ending in the afternoon, a couple flashes of lightning, freezes Friday and Saturday morning under clear skies. So our forecast, rain and fog, and it'll all be ending late tomorrow with a high expected to reach 49 degrees. Maybe some areas south of town get a little bit of sun. It may go up to about 51. Overnight low 40, and just like yesterday, the wind chill will make it feel about 10 degrees cooler than that. So if we can just get this rain out with early, and we'll have it in time for a sunny weekend.
Thanks, Woody.
Okay.
Tom?
Well, Woody says it is not cold enough to freeze at one place on the South Bank. It was supposed to be. We'll take you there next.
It's beginning to look a lot more like Christmas, especially on the Riverwalk. That is, if you think of Christmas, you think of ice skating. So we sent Bill Henley there to see if that rink is ready yet. Bill, you were supposed to be on the ice.
Yes, that's true, I was. We've been having problems with ice out here. We were out here last week at 11 when it was supposed to be freezing, tried to make ice, didn't quite get cold enough. Well, now we've got ice over here on the rink. It's cold enough for ice thanks to refrigeration. There's a truck full of refrigeration equipment, but because there's about a half-inch of water covering it, they didn't think it would be a very good idea. And besides, I've never been fond of ice skating in the rain. Joining me now are the queen, the Gator Bowl queen, the Mazda Gator Bowl queen, Katie Sykes, and her court. Katie, how'd you get dragged out here?
They told us to come out here. We might have a chance to skate, but it doesn't look like we're going to be able to skate much tonight.
The good news is that everybody will be able to skate. It's beginning tomorrow morning from 9 a.m. to 9:30, and that will go on through the 29th of December. The skating rink will be open. It costs just $2. The only evening it will close early is on Christmas Day. It'll be a pretty nice rink once it gets going, and they're promising tomorrow morning skating will be here in Jacksonville. Deborah?
Okay, thanks a lot, Bill. Don't let Dynafor steal your thunder the next time, huh? I'm Deborah Gianolis. Thanks for joining us.
Tonight on Eyewitness News, night beat at 11 o'clock, the outcome of the union vote at Jacksonville shipyards, and we'll talk live with the NAACP attorney here in town about the bomb that was found today. I'm Tom Wills. Have a nice evening, and stay tuned for Dan Rather.
I hope you join us tonight. Boxing greats Joe Frazier and Ken Norton will be here, along with comedian Monica Piper, jazz musician Joe Sample, and we'll have a visit from Santa, boys and girls.